My video, my video regarding artificial womb technology received a couple comments that I want to discuss here, and I think I'm going to do this regularly whenever I see a few people commenting certain ideas or sentiments that I might disagree with, but don't really want to go through the entire tedium of the YouTube commentary system. I might just respond to it in rant format. So the video, once again, was about artificial womb technology, and I'll put that in the description box or as a video response for reference. And there were a few comments pretty much implying that artificial womb technology could spell disaster, or in terms of ethical concerns and medical concerns, where the heavy hand of the state could intervene and use this technology against us. Many of us have read the dystopian novels of Orwell and Huxley, and we know, specifically in the Huxleyan scenario, we saw human beings being decanted, grown outside of the mother's womb. We saw an extremely superficial society where everybody was essentially genetically modified to suit the purposes of the future that was already written and spelled out for them. We saw genetic tinkering and that kind of stuff. Yeah, I've read Brave New World numerous times. I must have read the book 10 times. And I think the first time I read it was a couple years before I even posted up my YouTube channel. So I know the possible risks that come with the advent of artificial womb technology. I think it's a bit of a cop-out to just blindly state that the risks associated with transhumanism and artificial womb technology are so great that we should avoid it at all costs. I mean, technology is not going to slow to a crawl because you might have certain misgivings about the advent of a certain technology, and artificial womb technology is no different. I'm not an advocate of transhumanism per se, only because I see a very clear agenda within that movement. But that doesn't change the fact that artificial womb technology would, in fact, serve a useful purpose. And I think it's pretty convenient that whenever the topic of the artificial womb is brought up by me or anyone else, you always have this knee-jerk reaction, this contingent of people that have to warn you about the dystopian ramifications that could arise out of specifically the state gaining power over this technology and regulating it to the point where we could even have, I don't know, breeding rights revoked, natural births outlawed, that kind of stuff. And that was the actual scenario that took place in Huxley's dystopian novel. Yeah, I'm pretty sure, I mean, last time I read it, that the only means of reproduction allowed by the state was that of the decanting process, where infants were not only created mechanically in a lab environment, but also genetically modified to specifically suit their jobs that were predestined and picked out for them ahead of time. You always get warnings about that when you bring up the artificial womb. But the fact that, for example, women have been stockpiling millions, possibly billions of milliliters of sperm for the last 40 or 30 or 40 years as an insurance policy of male redundancy, where they no longer need men to reproduce and are actually utilizing an outside source of technology to achieve reproduction, opening up the process of reproduction to scientific rigor, and in the process mechanizing it. You really don't see the same amount of fervor and complaint from women or from men. And I think what it boils down to is that men want so badly to believe that women are still our partners instead of our competitors. I think that men are still banking on the odd chance that women are going to have this mass revelation and we're all just going to go back to this white picket fence utopia that never existed. They insist on the chance, the remote chance, the ever increasingly remote chance that women are still our partners. Look, women have grabbed hold of this reproductive assistance technology. They're not ashamed of it. They're not shamed for it by either men or women. But when a man expresses a desire for the same kind of freedom, to not be limited specifically by his need for a female, just as females have done, just as women have done, then there's some sort of outcry, and conspiracy theory abounds. The possibility of the state using this for nefarious purposes is real. Just like the possibility when we are developing nuclear technology that we would self-annihilate eventually after the advent of the nuclear bomb, that was also a reality. And guess what? We continue to pursue this technology because to know is to be human. We need to pursue knowledge as human beings. It is part of our intrinsic makeup to pursue knowledge, even if it means that eventually it just might destroy us completely. And I'm sure that human annihilation via nuclear war is much, much worse when compared to the possibility of state-sanctioned reproduction and the mechanization of reproduction outside the mother's womb. Both, of course, are horrible scenarios that I do not want to see personally happen. But that shouldn't stop us from pursuing that type of technology, especially when there's very real benefits to pursuing it. I think that people that are consistently parroting this whole men or women are partners and we're meant to be together and we're meant to come to common ground together and we're meant to love each other and this and that. I think that's all well and dandy and it's rather romantic and who knows, maybe that is the truth. I don't know. But let me pose this question to you. How exactly are we ever going to achieve such a thing? Such a partnership based on mutual respect and trust if both of us are dangling this carrot stick over each other's heads of on the female side their monopoly on reproduction and on the male side their excess wealth and utility. That doesn't sound like a mutually respectful partnership to me. That sounds like a process of exploitation that plays off of each other, a symbiotic yet parasitic relationship that I really want no part of. Men are rejecting marriage and the marriage contract in droves now. The plummeting marriage rates don't lie for the simple reason that they understand that sex is being leveraged against them. If men and women are really truly meant to have this kind of partnership, then maybe it should be done on equal terms, on equal footing, where one gender has absolutely no ability to exploit the other one for what the other one lacks. It's just an idea. If men and women are to truly come together, wouldn't it be a lot more likely to happen when we both know that if the opposite gender doesn't want to uphold their part of that contract, that part of that agreement, that we're perfectly capable of going on without them in species perpetuation? Well, I don't know. Those are just some general thoughts I've been having. Anyways, that's all I really got to say for now.